Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm hoping you're having a wonderful day. Welcome to the Business G Spot podcast. So, as you know, we're trying to mix, got it, trying to mix things up, and we're trying to redo things and rehash things. As you know, my buddy Tim Gillette decided to back out of the podcasting and put his business in a different format in regards to he's going towards doing websites and that type of thing. And I commend him on doing all of that. And I want to thank him for taking me through this. And that way now this little birdie, like I said before, is flying on her own. And thank you to Tim for still sponsoring our show through Simple Easy Marketing. And of course, my company, which is KG Website Designs. I'm Katrina Garcia, and I'm with, like I said, KG Website Designs. Welcome to the Business G Spot podcast. We have a ton of stuff to go over that I'm hoping will be very beneficial for you and moving forward for your business, not just business, but life in general. I know if you watched the podcast last week, and I'm going to keep pushing these out through social media and so forth. So if you missed it, don't worry about it. We'll keep pushing those out, as well as you can always find it on our YouTube channel and the Facebook page as well. But today I wanted to talk to you about a little bit more about AI. As we know, AI it's a huge thing. A lot of people are utilizing it. A lot of people are using it to make them do a lot more with a lot less effort, which is great. And that's what you want to use it for. But I cautioned you last week when we talked about AI a little bit too, is that the copy infringements is a big issue right now, especially with authors. I just recently read that John Grisham, as well as some other well-known authors, are actually suing OpenAI, which is ChatGPT, because people are starting to take their books without their consent. They're starting to take their books and they're starting to kind of make it their own. They're reformatting it, redoing it, rewording it a little bit here and there, and then they're trying to make it their own ebook or their own book as an author. That's not why AI was brought in place. You must understand, and I want everybody to understand this. When AI and the way AI works is it goes across the internet. That means this is stuff that's already been written. This is stuff that people have already put in place, whether that be blogs, podcasts, newsletters, websites, books, ebooks, doesn't matter. AI is simply going through and looking at all the data that's already there, and they're utilizing that data and pushing it back to you based on the question you're posting. So if you're saying, okay, I want to write a book on espionage, you might find a whole bunch of things come to you from Tom Clancy and a bunch of other people, but that doesn't mean you copy and paste it, because it's still copyright infringement. So this is something that I implore upon you. You utilize AI the best way possible. And part of that is not just copying and pasting. You still want to make these things your own. And you don't want to take verbatim sentences here and there from other people that have written these things and then put it into your content. So when you're utilizing AI, you always want to make sure that doesn't mean you take your creative side away. That doesn't mean you copy, like I said, and paste everything. That means you take the information and you make it your own, in the respect that you still have to write and still have to make it to where it's coming across for your audience and your content and so forth. And this is it's kind of a gray, there's no black and white. It's pretty gray when it comes to these copyright infringements. And I knew this was going to happen when AI came out in the first place, but here we are, and we're starting with this again. So like I said, you want to make sure that you're stating your questions in such a way that, yes, you're getting that information back, but you're not plagiarizing and you're not taking it and copying and pasting. And I can't implore that enough. Trust me, I really can't implore that enough. So I think too, the best way to utilize AI is when you look at your time and productivity. Now, trust me, there's a ton of stuff out there that's being pushed out there in regards to what it can do for you. There are even AI that can put websites together, keeping in mind that yes, they can put websites together, but they can't do the security piece on the back end. So there's still some things you have to look at when you're looking at these things that you're utilizing AI for. They're not altogether perfect, but I realize that they're helping us do things better. So I found a couple, this was an article that I found on Flip, and Flipboard. I always flip through Flipboard. Get it? Flip through Flipboard. Anyway, I love flipping through that and getting various different articles. And I found this great article. It's called 7 Useful AI Tools to Help You Save Time and Improve Your Productivity. And I will include the link when I post this out through social media so that you have it for yourself. And so I thought I'd go through a couple of them that they noted, which were quite interesting. One is Unscreen, which helps you edit your videos, which is huge because as we know, when we're doing podcasts or we're doing videos for any type of thing, the hardest part is when you start to do the video and then you start getting into the crux of changing this or changing that, or maybe splicing this out or splicing that out. This can be a huge help for you to save a ton of time, and it's called Unscreen. Another one's called Guide, Guide, which can help you with creating tutorials and course material, which is, I mean, that's fabulous in itself because it'll give you a start, and they can set it up step by step, and then you just go ahead and you input what you want your audience to learn based on your industry and what you're trying to push out there. But it gives you a great head start with that. That's called Guide, Guide. And believe it or not, HubSpot, which is kind of one of my favorite CRMs, if you haven't heard about them, HubSpot is one of those that still has a free CRM for a lot of people. And when I say CRM, that essentially means a client resource management software. And what does that mean, Katrina? Well, what that means is that essentially is a software that you're housing all of the data from your leads and your clients. Email, capturing phone numbers, capturing their name, capturing birth dates, all of that type of thing. That's what a CRM. It's capturing all of that data for your leads and your current clients so that you can continue to send them information and continue to help them and guide them in your industry. So HubSpot now has one that's called HubSpot AI. And this is a great, great tool because now it's going to help you with a lot of your marketing in regards to your marketing copy. It can do land paging content. It can do email content. It can also do ad content. Now, keep in mind that with ChatGPT, I've tested it a little bit and I went in to see what it would write for a simple thank you email for purchasing something. Granted, it's pretty basic, but this is another option for you to check into because HubSpot is known for all of their marketing pieces, and it's a great way to get you started, get you on the road so that you can change it up the way you want, like I said, because you want it geared towards your audience, but at least it gives you a starting point, which is better than starting from scratch. And so I highly recommend, and like I said, I'm going to note the link when I post this later on after the show. I'm going to note the link so that way you've got it and you can utilize this article. And plus they've got a ton of other articles that are attached to it as well that go through a bunch of other stuff. So I highly, highly, highly recommend you check it out. So speaking of social media and marketing, because social media ties into that, I know this can be really frustrating because I'm sure as I've been reading, there's a ton of articles out there now talking about social media and how there's a science based to it. So now you're thinking to yourself, okay, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm just trying to get my company going. I want to get the word out. I just want people to know about me so that they know how I can help them and become a client. And now I got to figure out the freaking science on social media. Why can't I just post it and just let it go? I don't get it. I understand that. I totally understand that. You want it to be as easy as possible, but sometimes I think personally, I think a lot of things, especially with AI imported into it, anytime there's something new, it kind of makes it a little bit more, I don't want to say convoluted, but it makes it a little bit more complicated, because then people start to make things more complicated, which we all have a tendency to do, especially as entrepreneurs. A lot of times we will take something very simple and then we make it where, oh, well, and if I do this, and then if I, oh, and then if I say this, and oh, and if I put this link, and then I put, before you know it, it's this huge surmountable thing. And then we have a hard time catching up. So I think the more simplified you make your social media, the more success you're going to have, not only doing it, but the more success I personally think you're going to get getting to your key audience. So when it comes to the science, I don't want you to get it too mired into that. I just want you to understand that let's take it down to the basics. And there are five things that are basic things that really work with any social media. No matter what you do or who you are, they pretty much work. Are they going to be where you're going to get a huge audience? No, probably not. But you're going to get eyes on you. You're going to get more impressions. You're going to get more people looking at you, and possibly you're going to get more people calling and more people signing up to be one of your clients and looking at you as an industry expert. So those five top things are: one, first, you want to figure out what social channel are most of your audiences on. And usually how you can tell that is the one that you get the most likes, the most comments, the most shares. That's where you see more people are sharing your information. So they're really enjoying that information. So that means you're giving them information they want. So you want to stick to that one social channel. If that's all the time you have, stick to that one social channel. I did a tip not long ago about that, but that's where you want to start, whether that be Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, doesn't matter. Stick to that one channel. The other thing that is, I know, said over and over again, but it can't be said enough, and trust me, I'm just as guilty as the next person, you have to be consistent when posting. So to start off, just start small. Post once a week, then start to post twice a week, then start to post 3 times a week, and so on and so forth. And the thing is a lot of people say, oh, you have to post every day. Not necessarily. It depends on your audience, and it depends on what you're putting across. So just keep in mind, there are a lot of posts out there that you can utilize to send to your audience as the expert in your industry, and to help them with tips and helpful things that they can utilize now. That's the key. So always being consistent. Number 3 is, of course, you want to post material that's geared towards your audience. And a lot of these that I'm sure you see a lot of this is the how-tos, like we're talking about now, your quick tips, upcoming events, your personal struggles. I mean, people love your personal struggles because it makes you real. I mean, let's face it, we're not all perfect, and I'm not perfect, and I don't have anything here that's showing you any perfection whatsoever. I'm doing it just the way I know how. But that's the whole point, is posting the material that's based towards your audience. The other one too is you want to note hashtags that tie into the topic of your business, because that can help you when it comes to people looking for things and viewing other things out there. In other words, you always want to have your business name on there. You always want to have your industry name on there. You want to have your tips. If it says tips, life tips, put life tips. If it's tips in general, tips, but you want to be more specific. If you're a dog trainer, dog training tips. If you do websites, website tips, that type of thing. Events, you want to note it as, hashtag upcoming event, hashtag the name of the event, and then the event. Also hashtag podcasts. Let them know it's a podcast, quotes, that type of thing. And struggle. If you're struggling and you're having personal struggles, business struggles, hashtag business struggle, hashtag personal struggle, hashtag struggle. And the thing that's interesting is that when you do these hashtags, and you don't want to go overboard, but when you're doing these hashtags, it helps people see your information in a bigger audience. And the reason for that is because when it comes to a hashtag, So actually say hashtag tips. Well, a lot of people out there put hashtag tips. So what it does is it essentially takes that word, and now you're put into this big pool of everybody that has said tips, hashtag tips on their social media, on their posts. So now you're going to be included in that big piece because it's so basic. Like, for instance, I have a granddaughter and I would post hashtag granddaughter, and it's amazing how many people and how many things would pop up because it's just hashtag granddaughter. So now it's going to get in front of more people. And now I'm finding more and more people are starting to follow me as well as connect with me. So that's another way of doing that. But keep in mind, you don't want to go hashtag crazy. I always recommend about 5 to 6 hashtags. And that can kind of help you get more impressions out there and more people looking at your stuff. And then number 5 is quit trying to compete with everyone else and quit trying to be like everyone else. Because let's face it, when people do business with you, they do business with you, not your competitor. They're not doing business with the guy next door. They're doing business with you. And that's what you want to keep in mind. You want to give people the transparent you, the real you. They want to find out, are you human like me? Do you make mistakes like me? Do you struggle like I do? Are these things that you struggle with that I can relate to? Because let's face it, we all want to be relatable. And that's part of it, is being transparent and being honest with your audience. And they love that. The other thing, and I'm going to go through this because we talked about, and let me go back just real quick on those 5 tips. The 5 tips for social media, simple tips. You don't have to have the science on it. One is figuring out which channel works best for you, that you're getting the best likes and the best push, the best share, and so on and so forth, and comments. That's 1. Number 2, you want to be consistent with your posting. Number 3, you want to have post material towards your audience, like we talked about. Number 4, you want to note hashtags that are relevant to your content as well as about your business and yourself to be found in bigger audiences. And number 5, quit trying to compete with other people in your industry. Just be real and transparent. So those are the top 5 things when it comes to social media. Just make it simple. Simplify, simplify, simplify. So I know we covered a lot up on top in regards to AI as well as social media tips. And sometimes you get to that point, and this is something that I recently had experienced, is you get burnt out. You've been doing it for a long time, especially entrepreneurs. And the reason for that is because a lot of times we don't take downtime for us. We're constantly on go. Got to get this done. Got to get that done. Got to get this done. Got to get that done. And it makes it real difficult for us to take that time to be with ourselves, for ourselves, so that we take ourselves away from the job and have an opportunity to really be with ourselves and kind of digest everything and cool down so that we don't get that burnout. And as entrepreneurs, we all do overnighters. We all have those weekends where we're working our butts off, but you got to take that time off. They say, science says that the top signs of burnout is, of course, fatigue, frequent headaches, lack of productivity. That's one of mine. Being irritable, that's another one of mine. I mean, when you find you're sitting there looking at the computer saying, I know I got all this stuff to do, but you know what? I think I'll go look at some property for sale just for shits and giggles. You know, you're getting burnt out. So these are things you want to pay attention to. And if that's the case, how do you get through it? How do you get past burnout, especially as an entrepreneur? Well, one of the keys I was talking about, of course, is yourself. But another key is delegating. And this is something that we all have a hard time with, is delegating and outsourcing. Because the key thing is when you're doing your business, a lot of us say, well, nobody can do it like I can. Or, well, you know what? It'll take so long for me to explain this to somebody else. I might as well just do it myself. But then you're negating the whole point of you being able to do more for yourself and pay more time to yourself. And that's delegating and outsourcing. And if you're not quite sure what to do, write a list. Put a list of all the things you hate doing. You don't like doing them, you hate doing them, that you can delegate to someone else because they're easy enough to do. Your emails, your setting up some of the back end stuff that you don't feel like you want to do, or it's not your forte. Doing a website, have somebody else do it for you. Hint, hint. So those are things that you can have someone else you delegate it and you resource it to someone else so that you're not doing everything. The other one is that the more you delegate, like I talked about, the more you can do for your business to not only grow your business, but to also grow yourself personally and professionally, because now you have the time to do that. And it also gives you more time to take that time for yourself. And what helps me, and I know this works for me, doesn't always work for everybody, but it works for me, is I take time to meditate in the morning, even if it means just breathing, take time to meditate. I go for a walk in the neighborhood for about a 30-minute walk just to clear the air. Even if I'm feeling frustrated and I can't get anything done, I'll go for a walk just to clear my mind, even if it's just 10 minutes. At least that way it helps you clear things through. And if you're really having a hard time, it's always best to find somebody you can talk to, a friend, a confidant, heck, if you have to, a therapist, whatever the case may be, to help yourself through. So those are 4 key things you can get past, and we're going to go through this again. One is delegating and outsourcing. The other one is so that because you delegate, it allows you to bring in more clients and build your business. 3 is taking some me time for yourself. And then, of course, speaking to someone to help you with this. Now, okay, these things are great, Katrina, but how the heck am I going to try and get all this stuff into my day when I've got social media posts I've got to do, I've got a podcast to run, I've got newsletters I got leads, I got all this stuff to do. How the hell am I going to find time to do all this stuff? Well, here's the thing. You're not going to do it unless you block the time out on your calendar. And that doesn't mean you overwrite it, because a lot of times we'll say, okay, Mondays aren't as busy, or Fridays aren't as busy, or maybe Wednesday's not as busy. So I'll give myself about an hour or 2 and I'll block it out for myself. Then a client calls. Can I talk on Wednesday? And you're looking at your calendar going, oh gosh, that was my me time. This makes money, this doesn't. Yeah, sure, I'll do it. And then before you know it, now you're putting that aside and you're negating what you're trying to do, which is spend that time away from your business so you don't get burnt out. So that's what you really have to do. And also blocking that time for big projects. If you block the time for big projects as well, it helps you know exactly what you've got on your schedule and how you're going to utilize it. What I like to do, because I have so many things going on at one time, half the time, I'll do a timer. So I'll do a timer for an hour and work on one project. Then I'll do a timer for another hour, work on another project. And then I'll do a timer and work on another project. And then I'll keep doing this and going back and forth and doing these things so that at least I've got 5 or 6 projects that I've spent an hour on each to get a lot done, as opposed to spending the whole day on one. So it helps me manage my time better. Of course, that's something you're going to have to figure out as a business owner. But blocking time is key for big projects, and blocking that time for yourself. That's going to really, truly help you get out of that burnout mode. The other thing too is you got to get systems in place that are going to help you. A lot of people say, okay, systems. So what system do I get? I have no idea. Well, and that's a whole other podcast in itself when it comes to systems, because there's so many of them out there. They can do so many things. I mean, personally, I like the one-stop shop systems, but not everybody does. And as we're seeing, a lot of the systems that are already out there for even just CRMs like MailChimp, now they want to be the beat-all. So now they're doing websites, and they're doing email campaigns, and they're doing the CRM, and they're doing all kinds of stuff, landing pages, so that way you stick with them. Keeping in mind that any system you utilize, it has to be easy for you to implement. It has to be easy for you to use, because if you're the one who's implementing it, you're the one who's using it. You don't want to spend a lot of time finding out that, oh yeah, I spent 8 hours trying to figure it out. Or you want it also to be most beneficial when it comes to your budget. I mean, is it in your budget? So these are a lot of things you're looking at when it comes to systems. But when you've got a really good system in place that works for you instead of against you, oh my God, it's like night and day. It gives you time because now it's doing things that you don't have to think about because it's already set up to do on automation. So I know we went through a ton of stuff. So I'm just going to kind of do an overview, a real glass overview. We talked about AI and copy infringements and how even the authors, well-known authors like John Grisham, is now trying to sue Chat GPT because people are trying to steal their information. And this is something that we talked about. We talked about productivity when it comes to AI, and there's several ways you can utilize it. And I'm going to give you the link for the article that I found, which is 7 useful AI tools to help you save time and improve your productivity. We talked about, let's see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 of them that it mentioned. Hey Jen. Oh, there was one I forgot to mention. Hey Jen, which is also a language translator for videos. I forgot to mention that one. So, and Unscreen, which we talked about editing your videos. Guide, which we talked about doing your tutorials and helping you with your course material. And then HubSpot's AI for marketing. So we talked about simplifying your social media and the 5 tips to help you with that, simplifying your social media. One is picking the one social channel where you get the most likes and comments and people that are coming to you because they like the content. 2, being consistent when you're posting. 3, posting material that's geared towards your audience, like we talked about. 4, your hashtags, being consistent with what you're talking about regarding your topic, your business, your name, those type of things. And 5, I can count 5, trying to compete with everyone and being transparent and letting people see the real you. We also talked about burnout and how to manage that burnout, which is delegating and outsourcing. That's one, and that's one of the hardest, trust me. I am still working on that myself. 2 is being able to bring in more clients because you've delegated that. 3 is gives you more time for you, and it gives you more time to clear the air and go for a walk, clear your head, whatever the case may be, just simply being still. 4, it also helps you, or I said 4, with burnout, it helps if you speak to someone, whether that be a friend or a confidant that can help you with those. And we talked about how to organize your day so you have less burnout, which is blocking your big projects, blocking time for you and not overriding it, and then getting systems in place to help you do more. So I said there was a lot to cover today, and I wasn't lying, because I really want to give you as much information as I possibly can with this podcast. And if you have anything that you have questions about, or systems, or how to do something, by all means, let me know. I want you to realize too that we're trying very hard to gear a lot of this towards people that are business owners, entrepreneurs, but also people that are learning for the first time in regards to being in business. But we're also going to talk about personal things here as well, personal experiences, personal struggles, because that's what makes us real. Because trust me, I'm not perfect, and I've gone through struggles. I've been in business for 16 years. 16 years. Am I a multimillionaire? No, I'm not a multimillionaire, but that doesn't mean I'm not successful. And that's something that people have to realize too when it comes to business. So hopefully you found all this information helpful. And don't forget to join us next Thursday at the same bet channel, bet time. And hopefully, if you want us to go over any topics, by all means, shoot it my way. Excuse me. I got a little tickle. You can shoot it my way to kgarcia@kgwebsitedesigns.com. I would love to hear from you and hear your thoughts and comments. Until next time, I hope you will join us next Thursday. Thanks for watching. Now we can end it. It seems